Hey everybody, what a week in the gold and silver market. As I film this, it's Friday afternoon, September 26th. The markets are closed and silver crossed over $46, closing at $46.11, gold at $3,760. Those are prices that many of us silver stackers have never seen before in our silver stacking journey. In fact, it's been since 2011 was the last time silver was this high. Are we going to see $50 an ounce this year? Boy, who knows, but I'm starting to think it's more of a possibility than I would have thought even a month ago. Anyway, we're going to talk about traffic in the shop, how many people are coming in and buying and selling, what they're buying, and more importantly, what they're selling. This is really going to be a selling focused video, why people are telling me they're selling and what they're selling in particular. Behind me, you can see some of this stuff right back here. I'll do a quick flyover of it in a second here, and then we'll do it in detail as I'm talking, so you'll be able to get closer looks at some of the stuff we bought this week. But we've had interesting pattern reversal where a week ago, not many people were selling. This week, especially later in the week, we bought a lot of stuff from the public. So we're excited to share that stuff with you. Hopefully you'll stick around. So as I mentioned in the intro, today's Friday, September 26th. This is just a small snapshot of some of the stuff we bought from the public today. I think a few pieces were maybe from yesterday, but this is a snapshot. This literally isn't everything. This whole section here is slabbed 1 ounce sovereign coins, most specifically American Silver Eagles. The one in the boxes are all American Silver Eagles slabs. We got some Canadian maple leafs, Chinese pandas, Canadian lynx, Canadian 30th anniversary. We got some larger 5 ounce British pieces. These are all slabbed, well, except the ones in the boxes, but these cherry boxes are slabbed eagles as well. I didn't really organize a lot of this stuff. We'll just quickly fly over it, and then we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty and talk about the markets. All these boxes you see right here, there's a gold coin inside of every one of those boxes, as well as these as well. We bought a lot of gold this week. One thing not in this video that we've already flipped over was 13 platinum proof sets, 4-coin proof sets, 1.85 ounces of platinum. We had 13 of them come in the shop this week. We've sold all those already. We bought a whole swath of colorized American Silver Eagles. There's just a few other things as well. But yeah, we're gonna spread this out on our table as we go back to the desk over here and talk about it. And here we go. All right, I'm back over at the desk now. Now we're gonna talk about what people have been selling over the last several days here back to us at Minot Coin Bullion, how that's changed since last week, and why they're selling. We'll start with the change. I had a video with Silver Seeker. We recorded it this Wednesday, which would have been September 24th, and I talked about how I've seen a big pattern reversal over the last several weeks where we weren't buying very much from the public. In fact, we've had to use our wholesaler to source material more than we had in the previous weeks because the amount of product the public was selling back to me at the coin shop had really decreased. Well, since I filmed that video with Silver Seeker Wednesday morning, we've seen a huge uptick in what we're buying from the public. So how quickly things change, right? So just in those 2 days, well, 3 if you count today, so Wednesday, Thursday, and we had a short day today on Friday, we bought a lot of stuff from the public. It really started out where I had a family bring 2 humongous totes full of stuff to the shop. They left it with me, luckily. I got through it Thursday, I believe. But that was just part of an estate that they had dropped off for me to go through. I had another gentleman drop off an estate that I went through. We paid and purchased that from him on Thursday. So I've had a lot of estate type collection things brought in, but I've also had stackers coming in to cash in. I had a gentleman who sold, I think it was almost $50,000 worth of platinum and gold to us. Just because he needed some cash for some other things, and he made out pretty well because he made up his money on platinum, and he probably doubled his money on the gold. So there's people that are doing that and taking profits. Somebody came in and sold all of these to me. There is 75 hand-painted 1 ounce American Silver Eagle here. One guy had 75 of these. He bought all these at a coin show for much cheaper when silver was much less, and decided, you know what, now's the time I'm going to make some money. I'm going to flip these. So that's another thing we picked up this week. I also want to talk about why people are selling. As I said, somebody did sell off an estate just to get some cash out for some other projects. I've had a lot of people that believe that we may be at the high. You know, maybe silver isn't going to go any higher. What are my thoughts on that? Well, I think it definitely could go higher. We're still way behind an inflation-adjusted all-time high. Even if we hit that nominal high of that magic number of $50 per ounce, I think we're going to see continued uptick in prices. But before you get too excited, I'll caution you, in any healthy market, as the prices go up, there's typically pullbacks. We call them corrections sometimes, depends on the degree of the downturn in metal prices. But it's not going to be a straight line upward to the moon, as some YouTubers tout, you know, silver to the moon. I think silver has amazing, amazing potential. I think there's going to be some downturn at some point, but is that downturn just going to be a couple percent, 5%, 10%? Even if silver drops 10% today, we're still over $40 per ounce. And actually it can't drop because the market's closed, but you get my drift. So a major correction, what I would consider a major correction, would be like 10%, maybe 15%. So you're talking $4 to $6. You're still in that $40 silver range, which is far, far ahead of where we were at the beginning of the year. So, you know, as it continues to march towards $50 an ounce, I personally wouldn't be shocked if there's a little bit of drawback in price. And actually we saw that Friday morning, actually overnight, Thursday into Friday, the overseas trading, silver was down quite a bit. Well, once it opened in the US, it just continued to charge upward. I think there's a lot of things going on, and I'm not going to get into it in this discussion, that's driving those numbers up, I believe. But as I said, I think it's going to continue, but I would be cautious, and I would be wary that there's always pullbacks. This is no guarantee that you're going to see a straight line continuing upward in terms of price. So I did have a gentleman come in today and he sold me these. In fact, he sold me over 150 slabbed sovereign silver coins. Most of them were American Silver Eagles, and you probably saw them in the intro. I didn't take them out of the box, but he had some different stuff too, some Canadian Maple Leafs. He had Canadian Lynx. One thing about this collection that this gentleman had, he has a lot of interesting labels, a lot of different labels. I think, in fact, he was maybe a label collector. Like this is a first year of issue label, 1986 Silver Eagle. Here we have the Type 1 Heraldic Eagle, last day of production. So this was the last day they minted this Type 1 American Silver Eagle. They got it slabbed. So that's kind of cool. And to go with it, it's the first day production of the Type 2. So how many days apart these were, I have no idea, however long it took them to switch out dies, but it's kind of cool that you have that set. Last day of issue for the Type 1, first day of issue for the Type 2. There's a lot of cool different labels, but we bought a ton of slabbed coins today, mostly from one gentleman. It was very interesting, and that was at a time where I had probably 10 other people in the shop. It was crazy busy. We had wall-to-wall people all day long. It's great to see that. There's a lot of interest, a lot of volatility, a lot of movement in precious metals right now, and that's exciting, especially as we're charging upward in price. You know, why that gentleman was selling, why did he sell me all those Silver Eagles? Well, he'd been collecting them for a long time, he told me. He didn't think his kids nor his grandkids had any interest, so he was just going to cash out and use that cash on himself. Good for him. And I know he definitely made money. He probably came close to doubling his money based on what he told me. So that's a nice success story. And a wise man once told me, and I've said this over and over, you can never go broke taking a profit. So don't be afraid to take a profit sometimes, but you know, you'll never know when the peak is or when the best time was until it's behind you. So get comfortable and confident with a number. If you're ever looking to sell your precious metal, you know, what is your exit strategy? In fact, drop that down in the comments. You know, for those of you that are stacking silver, this stuff here, what is your exit strategy, if ever? You know, I don't ever plan to sell my personal stack. I hope I don't have to. I hope it's a generational thing that I can pass along to my children, and then them pass it along to their children. But I don't really have a magic number in mind, but do you? At what number are you cashing out some silver to take some profit? Drop that down in the comments. I'm curious to see. Or maybe that number's already passed and you did. So curious to know. But anyway, we'll talk about gold next. Most of this gold came from one person. You know, as I said, we bought some estates. We had a nice $20 Liberty Head gold in 1895. Then we have a 1908 Nomado $20 gold piece, both quite common. We got a lot of boxed gold, and I just put a little bit on the tray here, but here, this piece is really cool. I've always liked these. I don't know if you remember, but in 2016, our U.S. Mint came out with the 100th anniversary of, it was the Mercury dime, the Standing Liberty quarter, and the Walking Liberty half dollar. And they made a 1/10 ounce, a 1/4 ounce, and a 1/2 ounce gold coin to commemorate those. This is the 1/4 ounce gold coin. So this is a 2016 1/4 ounce gold coin from the U.S. Mint, made in the design and imagery of the Standing Liberty quarter, which debuted in 1916. So this was like a 100th anniversary piece. Very cool. I've always loved these. I'm fortunate I do have that own set for me personally, and I was able to get most of them directly from the Mint back then in 2016. Here's a cool piece if you like Korean products. Here's a Korean tiger. I kind of laugh. I opened this up earlier to read this. Whoa! I guess there is some English on here, but I was trying to find a mintage, but I couldn't really find one. Oh, I found it. Here it is, 4,032. So there's only 4,032 of these 1/4 ounce gold Korean tiger. Korea always makes beautiful products, a lot of cat-themed products. Sorry, it's humid in here. Clean the fog off there. But yeah, so that's an interesting piece. We got a moon landing, 1 ounce silver piece here, or I'm sorry, 1 ounce gold piece, commemorating the moon landing, whether it happened in real life or in a movie studio. Depends on who you ask, I guess. But this is an Australian piece, 2019, 4/9 pure gold, and very limited mintage. I was surprised. This is coin number 64 out of 500. So only 500 of these suckers have been made. So this is a pretty rare gold coin back from 2019. Bought a lot of different size gold bars, 1 ounce, 5 grams, 2.5 grams. I think we got some 10-gram gold bars. So, you know, you see these aren't all that unusual to find. But here's one other cool piece I just wanted to share. We got this is a 75-year anniversary end of World War II coin that was put out by Australia in 2020. That's a 1/4 ounce of gold featuring the end of World War II. So yeah, some interesting gold pieces that we don't see very often. More than just bullion has been coming in. This one has a mintage of 1,000 coins. It looks like it's number 141. So just a lot of cool stuff. And you know, I mentioned in the intro, we'll talk a bit about platinum, even though I don't have any out that I'm going to be show and telling, I guess. We bought 13 platinum proof sets that included 4 platinum coins each, a 1 ounce, a 1/2 ounce, a 1/4 ounce, and a 1/10 ounce American proof platinum eagles. In fact, I'll flash a picture on the screen. I took a picture of some of them, I think. But we had 13 of those sets come in from one person. And you know, in the interest of ensuring that our cash flow remains flowing, we did flip those right away to another dealer for a small profit, so we shipped those off. So that's why I can't show them to you, because I don't have them anymore. But platinum is getting up there also. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, don't sleep on platinum, and platinum has slowly been charging up. There's some that believe platinum will catch up and overtake gold. I'm not one of those people. Platinum is still less than half the value of gold. It's probably closer to 40% if I'm doing the math quickly in my head. So it would have a long way to catch up to gold. You know, here's a 1 ounce proof American gold eagle. Beautiful, beautiful. In fact, I love this set. This is an awesome, awesome set. This is the 20-year anniversary of the gold eagle, which debuted in 1986. Prior to that, if you wanted to own a world minted, a sovereign minted gold bullion coin, you had to buy a South African Krugerrand, because that's all that was out there. Now, starting in 1986, US started producing gold, followed by a lot of other countries during that same period. But this is a beautiful 3-coin set here where you have the business strike, the BU, right, American Gold Eagle, the proof American Gold Eagle, and this is my favorite because there aren't many of these, the reverse proof American Gold Eagle from 2006. Beautiful, beautiful set. That's definitely a keeper, but it is for sale. I don't have this set for me personally, but it's a beautiful, beautiful set. And it comes in a fancy outer box and all that too. So we've been buying a lot of fractional gold too from the public, you know, 10th ounce gold eagles. Here's a 10th ounce prospector, 10th ounce gold Statue of Liberty, some looks like Australian, some other stuff. So, oh, and we bought buffaloes from the public. We don't get a chance lately to buy American gold because it's been in such demand going out the door We very rarely have buffaloes or eagles on hand, but we do right now, and we bought a maple leaf today too from somebody. So there are people cashing in gold because they believe gold is maybe tapped out or topped out. One thing we've seen with the gold to silver ratio, and that's something I think it's very important everybody should pay attention to. I've done countless videos on it. Search my previous video page and you'll find plenty of videos about the gold to silver ratio. That is shrinking. And what that means is the spot price in silver is going up at a faster rate than the spot price in gold. So the ratio of the two, which means how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold, keeps getting less. And I think as I film this, I think we're at about 81 to 1. Gosh, it was maybe 6 weeks ago, it was 100 to 1, meaning it took 100 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold based on spot price. Now it's down to 81. So the gap between the two is shrinking, meaning silver is outperforming gold right now. Even though silver doesn't get all the love in the media, it's always gold, 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 all-time high, all-time high. Well, silver's getting close, so don't sleep on silver. But yeah, those are just the trays that I wanted to show to you guys. Interesting things have been coming in the shop. A lot of sellers, a lot of buyers. It truly is a really fun time to be in the hobby right now. If you're a stacker, I'm guessing lately, every morning you wake up and you check the spot price. I don't know if you do that, but that's what I do. That's the first thing I check on my phone when I get up in the morning is the spot price of gold and silver. I've had a smile on my face lately because my personal stack, I think most of you know, I'm also a stacker. I'm a stacker first and a coin dealer second, truly. I smile because I know that every ounce of silver that I've socked away in my personal stack has appreciated in value as we see the spot price continue to go in a positive direction. And it's a lot of fun. It's real easy to celebrate in a market like this where there's highs and not many lows. So how long is that going to continue? Truly, that's anybody's guess. But what I think is going to happen, and this is just an opinion, I think we're going to see over $50 silver soon. I'm not going to predict tomorrow, next week, by the end of the month, by the end of October, like I've heard a lot of people saying. But it could happen relatively soon. It could be before year end. It could be early in 2026. But remember, as I said earlier, I think before we get there, I think there's going to be a bit of a pullback, a correction, we would call it, because that is indicative and normal in a healthy market. You can't have prices, well, there's very few instances when it has happened. I guess it has in the past. But typically, you don't have prices continue to charge up at the rate they've charged up without having some type of correction. So I just caution you, I think a bit of a correction's coming, but that could be after we cross $50 an ounce. I'm not sure, but give me your thoughts below. Why don't we play this game, in fact, because I love to read your comments and I'll respond to every one that I can. Where do you think silver is going to be on Halloween? October 31st. That's about 4.5 weeks away, a little over a month. To remind you, as I film this, we sit at $46.11 per ounce based on the Kitco ask price. Where's silver going to be? Is it going to cross over 50? Are we going to still be at 46? Or maybe it took a huge backward dive to 38. Who knows? But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Obviously, it's an opinion from all of us. No one has insider knowledge. There's no such thing. We can't control the price of silver. Us stackers, us dealers, we have zero control over the spot price of silver. So it truly is a prediction on our part. Where do you think it's going to be by Halloween? Let me know in the comments. In fact, I think we'll play a game. The closest guesser, and I'll have to remind myself to check back on Halloween, the person who guesses closest is going to win a prize from me. In fact, let me show you what it is. You're going to win a Minot Coin Bullion hat if you guess the closest to what the silver price is going to be on Halloween 2025. You win a Minot Coin Bullion hat. Obviously, guesses will close prior to October 31st, so we're looking at the closing price on October 31st based on Kitco Ask. But if you get the closest guess, I'll send you this hat and I'll send you some silver too. How's that for fun? But lastly, we'll talk real quick again about gold. As I said, gold velocity, and I'll link the Silver Seeker video. It's doing quite well. I think as I film this, it has over 56,000 views, and it just went up yesterday. But Silver Seeker and I had a great conversation about mostly silver. A little bit about gold at the end, so stick around and watch it till the end. We'll probably do a separate video about gold. But what's popular in gold right now is American gold. There was a period where I couldn't keep it in stock, but I was fortunate to be able to buy a bunch from the public over the last couple of days, which is nice because I need the inventory because the demand is there. But American gold, whether it be pre-33 gold like this or gold buffaloes, remains very popular. Where do we see gold price? Let's play the same game with gold, and I'll do the same thing. If you can get the closest to predicting gold price on October 31st, close of day based on Kitco Ask price, I will give away a Minot Coin Bullion hat and some silver to the correct guessers for both the gold and silver spot price. So, but yeah, put those in the comments. But anyway, American gold is by far the most popular gold that we're selling. And as far as silver is concerned, American silver is the most popular, as long as I have it in stock. And, you know, prior to earlier today, when we bought over 150 slabbed American silver eagles, we didn't have much in the store again. I have a bunch on order. Should be arriving early next week, so we will have product for the public. But yeah, that's really all I have to say today. It's been a long video already, so I think we'll cut it there. But get your guesses in for close of day, October 31st, gold and silver prices. Closest to in each gold and silver is going to get a free Minot Coin Bullion hat sent to you, as well as some silver. Everybody, thanks so much. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. We're getting closer to 20,000 subscribers. That would be a huge milestone for my channel. And once we get there, we got some surprises. So hopefully we can get there sooner than later and continue to grow and get this education out to everybody. But yeah, feel free to subscribe, share, comment down below, and like this video if you haven't already. And you know, check out my channel. We have a lot of interesting videos in different categories. We do silver and gold unboxings. We ourselves actually do coin dealer interviews where I talk to other coin dealers. I've done live streams from gun shows and coin shows. I give education about current markets. I do coin shop walkthroughs. And one of the funnest ones that I haven't done in a while are history of US coinage videos. I have 3 up so far, so be sure to check out that series as well. But everybody, thank you so much for the unwavering support. I appreciate you all. Keep stacking and keep the faith alive. Gold and silver are great places to keep your cash right now. And I think those that hold the gold and the silver will be very, very happy. Until next time, everybody take care. Have a great day.